Chapter 2, Surah Baqarah, Part 3, Section -8 of Chapter 2, verse 30 to 33. Creation of Adam and his quality to learn. Behold, thy Lord said to the angels, Indeed, I am going to place in a land, Arti, a vicegerent. They said, Will you place therein one who will make mischief therein and shed blood, while we do celebrate thy praises and glorify thy holy name? He said, I know what you know not. And he taught Adam the names of all of them. Then he placed them before the angels and said, Tell me the names of these, if you are right. They said, Glory to you. Of knowledge we have none, save what you have taught us. In truth, it is you who is perfect in knowledge and wisdom. He said, O Adam, tell them their names. When he had told them their names, Allah said, Did I not tell you that I know the secrets of the sky and land, and I know what you reveal and what you conceal? Remarks. The above verses highlight 3 points. Humans are created as the vicegerents of Allah. Humans are learning creatures. What humans are to do on the earth. 1. Humans are created as the vicegerents of Allah. The verses highlight the purpose of creating human beings. They are vicegerents of God on the lands. Humans are servants of God as well. But they are servants as vicegerents. Humans are his vicegerents on the lands. The lands are scattered throughout the universes. If the planet Earth is a land, the planet Mars too is a land. There are lands, planets, in every galaxy of the Samawat, this universe. And there are lands, planets, in the Jannat, another universe. If I were a vicegerent of Allah on a land, all the creatures on the land would obey my orders. Disobeying my order would mean disobeying the order of Allah. But elephants, lions, tigers, birds, etc. do not obey my orders. It is because humans are not yet appointed on the lands. They are undergoing tests. After the final judgment, each human will be sent into his lands as an empowered vicegerent of Allah. The poorest in the Jannat, another universe, will get a land 10 times bigger than the earth. It may be a planet of the Jannat. A human in the Jannat will be duly empowered. All creatures of his land will obey his commands. The trees will lean to present their fruits. The rivers will shift their courses on order. A human sent into the Samawat, this universe, would be forgotten by Allah, just as he had forgotten him in his earthly life. He will be a forgotten vicegerent of God over a galaxy. The galaxies are objects of hell. He will be living on a planet, land, of his galaxy, without any extra power given. The Samawat, this universe, evolves according to the natural laws set on the day of law. He will have hardly any power. His ability will be similar to what we have on Earth. The number of galaxies in the Samawat is vast. So a vicegerent may own a major galaxy along with a cluster of dwarf galaxies infested by anti-creatures such as jinns and other creatures. There will not be a second human in his galaxy. However, he will get some jinns as his allies. And he might be able to train some animals to obey a few commands, similar to what can be done on the earth. 2. Humans are learning creatures. What makes Adam and his children suitable vicegerents of God? A human has ability to learn. It is a unique quality of a human. All animals, except humans, are genetically taught in the eggs or in the mother's wombs. Their brains are programmed by birth with the knowledge they need. After birth, they cannot learn anything new. But a human learns after his birth. And he continues learning till death. The scientists have found out that a polar migratory bird, hatched in an incubator separately, can fly to the polar region, to the flock it belongs to. How the bird can do it without ever seeing a bird of its kind. In fact, its brain is imprinted with the knowledge by birth. It has programs and sensors to know its present location and time, and it knows its intended location at that point in time. In a single flight, It would traverse thousands of miles to reach its due location without losing its sense of direction, whether it is day or night. Just ask a pilot how challenging this task is, considering that the bird has never attended a flying school, nor does it possess a map, star chart, ephemeris, calendar, watch, compass, protractor, or even a GPS device. All other animals have particular living traits. They are not taught those by their parents. They know those by birth. A baby monkey knows by birth how to hang in the mother's belly. But a human baby cannot grasp anything. A cow knows by birth how to walk. But a human child needs more than a year to learn walking. How they can do it? When they develop in eggs or wombs, their DNA codes design their brains to know all they need to know. They are physically designed to do what they need to do. But after they are born, they cannot learn anything new. Their brains are already programmed and fixed. Here, a human differs. While growing in the mother's womb, at a particular stage, her brain denies learning from the genes. Therefore, a human baby knows nothing at the time of birth. He does not know how to walk or how to sit. And a large part of his big brain remains vacant like the white pages. A human baby begins learning after birth. Therefore, the process of learning remains active throughout his life. This ongoing learning is a key factor in human development. It's why humans have achieved so much, even reaching the moon, while chimpanzees are still in the forests. A part of human brain, reptilian part mainly, which run the organs, such as lungs, heart, kidney, etc., are genetically programmed. The creation of leaning brain was a great advancement. Allah made it for humans and proudly showed it to the angels, saying, "Did I not tell you that I know the secrets of the sky and land?" An angel, too, is created with the knowledge he needs. He is programmed by origin. He cannot learn a new thing, so they could not learn the names. But Adam could learn. We see how a child continually learns new words. They begin with simple words like mama and papa. And within days, they start telling long sentences. It's worth noting that some animals can learn to obey a few commands, and some birds can learn to mimic a few words, but their learning process differs significantly from that of humans. An animal can be trained to follow a few commands by leveraging the traits and abilities genetically implanted in them. They ask thee what is lawful to them as food. Say, lawful unto you are things good and pure, and what you have taught your trained hunting animals in the manner directed to you by God. Eat what they catch for you, but pronounce the name of God over it, and fear God, for God is swift in taking account. Al-Quran 5-4. The above verse informs us that animals can be taught in the manner directed by God. This means that Allah has endowed them with the faculties necessary for being trained to obey certain commands. He did so when He designed them. Therefore, we can utilize horses, cows, donkeys, hunting animals, and so forth in our daily lives. 3. What humans are to do on the earth. The Quran is a guidance of Allah to His vicegerents, under tests, presently living on the earth. They are intelligent learning creatures. One will find that the Quran instructs to do jihad, but does not say the procedure of doing jihad. It says to establish salat, but does not say how to establish salat. It says to pay zakat, but does not say the rate and procedure paying zakat. Actually, this is how the order should be given to the intelligent vicegerents. The procedures for following these orders are to be devised by the vicegerents according to the general instructions provided in the Quran. The Prophet, PBUH, established these procedures as part of the culture. Minor deviations are anticipated. For instance, the Prophet, PBUH, was engaged in warfare and spreading Islam. So there was a need for zakat at a higher rate. The current caliph, or the highest Islamic leadership, may adjust this rate to a lower level, after consulting their advisors. Section 9 of Chapter 2, verse 34-39. honor of vicegerent, and the need of guidance. And behold, we said to the angels, Bow down to Adam, and they bowed down, not so Iblis. He refused and was haughty. He was of those who reject faith. And we said, Oh, Adam, dwell you and your wife in the Jannat, and eat of the bountiful things therein as you will, but approach not this tree, or you run into harm and transgression. Then the Satan made them slip therefrom, and got them out from that in which they were. And we said, Get you down, all with enmity between yourselves. On earth will be your dwelling place, and your means of livelihood, for a time. Then learnt Adam from his Lord words of inspiration, and his Lord turned towards him, for he is oft returning, most merciful. We said, Get you down all from here, and if, as is sure, there comes to you guidance from me, whosoever follows my guidance, on them shall be no fear, nor shall they grieve. But those who reject faith and belie our signs, they shall be companions of the fire, they shall abide therein. Remarks: Iblis refused to bow down. He was a jinni, still living. The jinns are created from antimatter. Antimatter is a kind of dark matter. The universe is full of dark matter. The ratio of dark matter to ordinary matter, baryonic matter, is 5:1 approximately. The jinns are original sons of the skies, Samawat, this universe. Adam and Eve were sent into the skies to suffer punishment. Humans are land-bound creatures, but the jinns are not. They fly through the skies. They like to be our friends. Actually, they like to possess us and enjoy human lives. Ultimately, they share wealth and children of those that follow them. But any that befriends a jinni by rejecting the faith is led to the blazing fire. The jinns are deliberately discussed in Section 3 of Chapter 7. Segment 3: Causes of forming a new Ummah. The third segment talks about the causes of forming a new Ummah. The segment talks about previous guidance and children of Israel, Jews. Their faith is pointed out as correct, but they were not a people to follow Muhammad, PBUH. So the followers of Prophet Muhammad, PBUH, were gradually isolated from them by mentioning their disobediences. Finally, the followers were made a new Ummah in the religion of Abraham. Section 10 of Chapter 2, verse 40-46. Children of Israel, Jews, are called to follow Muhammad, PBUH, children of Israel. Call to mind the favor which I bestowed upon you, and fulfill your covenant with me, as I fulfill my covenant with you, and fear none but me. And believe in what I reveal, confirming the revelation which is with you, and be not the first to reject faith therein, nor sell my verses for a small price, and fear me, and me alone. And cover not truth with falsehood, nor conceal the truth when you know. And perform as salat, and give zakat, and bow down your heads with those who bow down. Do you enjoin right conduct on the people, and forget yourselves, and yet you study the Scripture? Will you not understand? Nay, seek help with patient perseverance, and as salat. It is indeed hard, except to those who bring a lowly spirit, who bear in mind the certainty that they are to meet their Lord, and that they are to return to Him. Remarks: The Surah was revealed in Medina. In Medina, there were many Jews, organized in 3 tribes. But most of them did not accept Muhammad, PBUH, though they knew from their scriptures that he was the last prophet. They were hiding the truth with the falsehood. If the Jews of Medina accepted Islam, it would be helpful to preach the Quran among the pagans. They were repeatedly called, but they did not accept. Ultimately, they were in deep confrontation with the growing Islam. The rivalry ended up in war, and they were evicted. Some of the evicted Jews took shelter in Khaybar and perpetrated an all-Arab offensive against the Muslims, the Battle of Khandaq. Consequently, they were driven out of Al Jazeera, and the land became a safe center of Islam. Some of them were killed in the process of eviction, and some were enslaved. Note: Al Jazeera should be the land up to the line, joining the tip of Red Sea and the tip of Persian Gulf. However, some Arabs consider Iraq, Syria, Jordan, Lebanon, and Palestine as parts of Al Jazeera. Section 11 of chapter 2, verse 47 to 61. They, Jews, transgressed in the old times too, and went on transgressing. Children of Israel called to mind the favor which I bestowed upon you, and that I preferred you to all other. Then guard yourselves against a day when one soul shall not avail another, nor shall intercession be accepted for her, nor shall compensation be taken from her, nor shall anyone be helped. And remember, we delivered you from the people of Pharaoh. They set you hard tasks and punishments, slaughtered your sons, and let your womenfolk live. Therein was a tremendous trial from your Lord. And remember, we divided the sea for you, and saved you, and drowned Pharaoh's people within your very sight. And remember, we appointed 40 nights for Moses, and in his absence you took the calf, and you did grievous wrong. Even then, we did forgive you. There was a chance for you to be grateful. And remember, we gave Moses the scripture and the Furqan, war scroll. There was a chance for you to be guided aright. And remember, Moses said to his people, O my people, you have indeed wronged yourselves by your worship of the calf. So turn to your Maker and slay yourselves. That will be better for you in the sight of your Maker. Then he turned towards you, for he is oft returning, most merciful. And remember, you said, O Moses, we shall never believe in you until we see Allah manifestly. But you were dazed with thunder and lightning, even as you looked on. Then we raised you up after your death. You had the chance to be grateful. And we gave you the shade of clouds, and sent down to you manna and quails, saying, Eat of the good things we have provided for you. To us, they did no harm, but they harmed their own souls. And remember, we said, Enter this town and eat of the plenty therein as you wish. But enter the gate with humility in posture and in words, and we shall forgive you your faults and increase those who do good. But the transgressors changed the word from that which had been given them. So we sent on the transgressors a plague from sky, for that they infringed repeatedly. And remember, Moses prayed for water for his people. We said, Strike the rock with thy staff. Then gushed forth from there 12 springs. Each group knew its own place for water. So eat and drink of the sustenance provided by Allah, and do no evil nor mischief on the earth. And remember, you said, O Moses, we cannot endure one kind of food, so beseech thy Lord for us to produce for us of what the earth grows, its pot herbs and cucumber, its garlic, lentils, and onions. He said, Will you exchange the better for the worse? Go you down to any town, and you shall find what you want. They were covered with humiliation and misery. They drew on themselves the wrath of Allah. This was because they went on rejecting the signs of Allah and slaying His messengers without just cause. This was because they rebelled and went on transgressing. Remarks. They drew on themselves the wrath of Allah. There was a chance to return by accepting the last prophet, Muhammad, Pbuh, but most of them remained aloof. Verse 62. Those who believe, Mu'mins, and those who follow the Jewish, and the Christians, and the Sabians, any who believe in Allah and the last day, and do good deeds, shall have their reward with their Lord. On them shall be no fear, nor shall they grieve. Remarks. Anybody that believes on one God and the last day and do good deeds shall be rewarded. The verse does not give any time barrier. After above verse, we can differentiate Mu'min, Muslim, Musin, and Mutaki. Point 1. Mu'min. The word Mu'min means grantor of security. A mu'min does not harm anybody because he believes in one God and the Day of Judgment. Therefore, he grants security passively by refraining himself from being hurtful to other believers. The Quran is deliberate in respect of the faith. It develops clear concept of one God by saying repeatedly, which is God and which is not. So a person that believes according to the Quran is a perfect believer, and he is rightly called mu'min, believer. Jews and Christians should not be called believers, mu'minin, though they are believers of one God, because mu'min is used as a term to identify a group following the Quran. According to the verses under discussion, a person is to do the followings to be rewarded by Lord. He has to believe on one God. He has to believe the last day. He has to do good deeds. Believing the last day may mean believing doomsday, resurrection, and salvation. The verses do not say how many good deeds a person has to perform. Even if he does a few, at least 2, petty good deeds in his lifetime, he becomes eligible to be rewarded with the Jannat. Shall have their reward with their Lord. On them shall be no fear, nor shall they grieve. However, the verse may mean doing day-to-day good deeds throughout the life. For example, a farmer by profession is a doer of good deeds, and a thief by profession is a doer of bad deeds. The Quran suggests to perform as salat, pay zakat, fast in Ramadan, perform Hajj, struggle for the cause of Allah, pray extra at night, tahajjud, pay extra in charity, and so on. These are different types of good deeds. These take a person at a higher level in the paradise. If a believer, believing in one God and the last day, performs even trivial good deeds, he is supposed to attain paradise according to the verse under discussion. But if a person does not believe, he will not enter paradise even if he prays throughout his life and expends billions of dollars in charity. Therefore, the faith decides the destination, and the deeds decide the level of reward or the level of punishment. In Jannat, paradise, there are many levels with significant differences, similar to the distinctions between the poor and the rich on earth. The position of a martyr, shaheed, will be sky high in comparison to an ordinary inhabitant of paradise. 2. Muslim. The word Muslim means one who submits. The word is used as a term to mean the people in the cult of Abraham. As the following verse says, "It is the cult of your father Abraham. It is he who has named you Muslims, both before and in this. And strive in his cause, as ye ought to strive. He has chosen you, and has imposed no difficulties on you in religion. It is the cult of your father Abraham. It is he who has named you Muslims, both before and in this, that the apostle may be a witness for you, and ye be witnesses for mankind." So establish regular prayer, salat. Give regular charity, zakat, and hold fast to God. He is your protector, the best to protect, and the best to help. Al-Quran 22-78. So the people of the book can also be referred to as Muslims. However, they do not identify themselves as such. Furthermore, in the above verse, a Muslim is called to establish regular prayer, salat, give regular charity, zakat, and adhere to God, remain united under the highest Islamic leadership, caliph, through the mosques at different levels. Our Lord, make of us Muslims to Thy, and of our progeny a people Muslim to Thy, and show us our ways of worship, and turn unto us. For you are the oft-returning, most merciful. Al-Quran 2-128. Therefore, when a mu'min establish regular prayer, salat, give regular charity, zakat, and adhere to God, remain united under the highest Islamic leadership, caliph, through the mosques at different levels, he becomes a Muslim. 3. Mutaki means protector, guard, defender. He is oath, bayah, bound to the highest Islamic leadership, caliph, to fight for the cause of God. Mutakin protect Islam through struggle and warfare, but they are not a paid regular army. They struggle because they are pious. That is the book. No doubt, in it is a guidance for the guards, muttaqin, who believe in the unseen, and establish as-salat, and spend out, pay zakat, of what we have provided for them, and who believe in the revelation sent to you, and sent before your time, and they believe with certainty the hereafter. They are on guidance from their Lord, and it is these who will prosper. Al-Quran 2-5. The muttaqin believe in the unseen, establish as-salat in the mosque, collect zakat for the highest Islamic leadership, they pay as well, believe the books, and believe the hereafter. The part 1 of the Quran, this part, is meant for them. They will be rewarded in the hereafter like the prophets of God. Note: a muttaqi must be under the highest Islamic leadership, caliph, highest imam, preferably through bay'ah. He, muttaqi, cannot fight without his permission. 4. Mushin. Mushin means good doer. Musin comes from the root word hsn, that means beautiful. A musin is one that do hasan, calming help, to someone. Alif, Lam, Mim. These are signs of the wise book. A guide and a mercy to musinin, doers of good, those who establish regular prayer, salat, and give regular charity, zakah, and they believe firmly the hereafter. These are on the guidance from their Lord, and these are the ones who will prosper. Al-Quran 31-15. A musin lives in the society established by muttaqin, but he is not oath, bay'ah, bound to the highest Islamic leadership to fight for the cause of God. He is a common member of the Islamic society. The Quran invites the musinin, plural of musin, to help the muttaqin. A musin may not have been allowed to take oath, bay'ah, and join muttaqin because he is a student, or a teacher, or a scientist, or an intellectual, or he is involved in a full-time profession, or he is a slave, or he is serving in a national defense forces, or he is a vital government servant, or Islamic leadership thinks him lacking personal discipline, or Islamic leadership thinks him physically and or morally unfit, or Islamic leadership thinks that he does not need any more men. The musinin remain allied to the imams of the local mosques with a view to remain allied to the highest Islamic leadership. They are common members of the Islamic societies. The part 3 of the Quran, chapter 31-114, is meant for the musinin. According to the part 3, they are to do the followings: perform regular salat in the local mosque, pay zakat in the local mosque with a view to send it to the highest Islamic leadership, pray extra, especially tahajjud at night, pay extra for the cause of God, do good deeds as much as they can. Mushinin too will be rewarded greatly in the afterlife, even at the scale al-muttaqin, if they can spend significantly for the cause of God and, or, can pray extra at nights for long periods of time. The musinin are parts of Islamic societies. If the villagers of a village are not commanded by the imam of the local mosque, authorized by the highest Islamic leadership, the villagers should not be called musinin. They should be called Muslims, though many of them may be mu'mins, believer only. Note: zakat goes to the highest Islamic leadership. It should be expended through the mosques at different levels as per policy given in the Quran. It is economic power of Islam, so it should be collected and expended through the mosques. The zakat should not be mixed up with the government tax, even if the government were Islamic. My ideas about mu'min, Muslim, muttaqin, and musin differ from traditional ideas, but my ideas are supported by the Quran. 5. Conclusion. Above discussion is aimed to understand the differences between mu'min, Muslim, musin, and muttaqi. It does not mean that a mu'min will never pray as salat, or a musin will never fight a battle. Everybody should try to improve, and there are instructions throughout the Quran, which are common to all. In subsequent chapters, a person is repeatedly called to be a muttaqi, but the foundation stands good. So, one should never be disheartened about Allah, even if one finds that one is in the deathbed, and have a plan to start praying as salat regularly from tomorrow, because Allah is most merciful, the Supreme. He is answerable to none, and He has declared, "Those who believe, mu'minin, and those who follow the Jewish scriptures, and the Christians, and the Sabians, any who believe in Allah and the Last Day, and do good deeds, shall have their reward with their Lord. On them shall be no fear, nor shall they grieve." Verse 63 to 64. And remember, we took your covenant, and we raised above you Mount Sinai. Hold firmly to what we have given you, and bring to remembrance what is therein. Perchance you may fear Allah. But you turned back thereafter. Had it not been for the grace and mercy of Allah to you, you had surely been among the lost. Section 12 of chapter 2, verse 65 to 66. A humiliating punishment they, Jews, suffered, though they were from chosen people. And you knew well those among you who transgressed in the matter of the Sabbath. We said to them, "Be you apes, despised and rejected." So, we made it an example to their own time and to their posterity, and a lesson to those who fear Allah. Remarks: Allah reminded that the Jews were punished beforehand for their disobediences. Some of them became apes, though they were from the chosen people. They may face the divine punishment in future as well. Allah is not weak, but they did not stop their conspiracy against Prophet Muhammad. Pbuh. There are different stories related to this incident. One common narrative suggests that the community of Israel were cursed by God to become apes because they caught fish on the Sabbath, Saturday, a day when they were not supposed to work. However, breaking the Sabbath alone does not seem like a sin grave enough to warrant such a punishment. There may be more to the story. Another version tells that on the Sabbath, when David used to sing the praises of God, the fish would come to listen, raising their heads out of the water. The people used to catch these fish, exploiting their devotion. Thus, they were cursed to be apes. This story suggests that when some gather out of love for God, their assembly should not be defiled. Section 13 of chapter 2, a people, Jews, unwilling to obey. And remember, Moses said to his people, Allah commands that you sacrifice a heifer. They said, "Do you make fun of us?" He said, "Allah save me from being an ignorant." They said, "Beseech on our behalf thy Lord to make plain to us what it is." He says, the heifer should be neither too old nor too young, but of middling age. Now do what you are commanded. They said, "Beseech on our behalf thy Lord to make plain to us her color." He says, a fawn-colored heifer, pure and rich in tone, the admiration of beholders. They said, "Beseech on our behalf thy Lord to make plain to us what she is. To us are all heifers alike. We wish indeed for guidance, if Allah wills." He says, a heifer not trained to till the soil or water the fields, sound and without blemish. They said, "Now have you brought the truth." Then they offered her in sacrifice, but not with good will. Remarks: the Jews could sacrifice any cow, but as they kept on asking questions, and as the answers were coming from Allah, the cow was becoming more and more rare. At the end, it was a unique cow, but they had to buy it with a huge price and had to sacrifice it. From this story, the Sahaba, companions of Prophet Muhammad, Pbuh, learned not to ask questions to the Prophet, Pbuh, but to listen and obey. Prophet was living with them. If they asked too many questions, answers would come, and the religion would become complex and difficult to follow.